My husband told me to undo our IVF procedure. My husband, 29M, and I, 30F, were high school sweethearts. We were each other's first everything: first relationship, first love, first heartbreak. I worked long hours, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., barely making any money just so he could finish university. After 7 years together, we finally got married. Not long after that, my mom got sick. Cancer. I quit my job to take care of her full time until she passed away. I was numb, completely lost. My husband said he wanted to start fresh and work overseas, but I wasn't ready to leave everything behind. So he took a job on the other side of the country, 32 hours away by car, through mostly desert. I didn't care much about anything at that point, so I just said fine. A year or two later, I started feeling like myself again. We were both working at the same school and had built a little community there. It was nice. We bought a huge fixer-upper, 7 bedrooms, and planned to renovate it ourselves. I even installed a washing machine upstairs so we could rent the top half out for extra income while living downstairs. We rented one room to a coworker of ours. He was supposed to share the upstairs with other renters eventually, but after he moved in, he decided he didn't want anyone else there. My husband took his side every single time. I'd bring it up and get brushed off. Always some excuse. After 3 years of trying to have a baby, we found out the problem. My husband's sperm count was basically non-existent. The only way we'd ever have a child was through IVF, and the doctor said if we were going to do it, we needed to do it soon. IVF was hell. It wrecked my body. I joked that I'd become an accidental lesbian because more women had been down there than men. But it worked. After years of negative tests, I finally got that call. I was pregnant. I was over the moon. I made a cute little setup in the kitchen with baby stuff to surprise him. He came home, saw it, and just said flatly, "That's the result then, is it?" No smile, no excitement. Just nothing. I thought maybe he was in shock, so I hugged him and told him yes. We're finally pregnant. That night we got takeaway, and then he left to go drinking with his friends. As usual. Still, I didn't let it ruin my joy. I had waited 3 years for this. I started buying little baby things, just small stuff. But he didn't even look at them. He acted like he couldn't care less. The morning sickness hit hard, but mostly in the afternoons, which worked out because I could get through work before I started throwing up. Then one day in the staff room, one of our coworkers, a woman, bounced in and said to everyone, "Wow, your husband's such a fast runner." I was confused. Turns out they had been going for runs together in the mornings. He never told me. When I asked, he got irritated, said it was spur of the moment, and he didn't want to wake me up. So the next morning, I decided to ride my bike while they ran, just to see what was going on. She was flirting with him the whole time, complimenting him, laughing at everything he said. I felt like the third wheel. I asked them both, separately, to stop. Told them it made me uncomfortable. They both said they would. Spoiler, they didn't. His phone location started glitching all the time, and he was spending more and more weekends out drinking. I tried to be understanding. Figured maybe he was stressed about becoming a dad. At 20 weeks, I felt my baby kick for the first time. It was incredible. I'll never forget that moment. My husband said he wanted to take me to dinner to celebrate. I was so happy. We sat down at my favorite restaurant, and he just looked at me and said, "I don't think we're ready to have a baby. I think it would be better for the baby if you got an abortion. We can work on our marriage and try again later." I felt like the air got sucked out of the room. I just stared at him. I started crying. I couldn't even hear the rest of what he said. I told him no, that I could feel our baby moving already, that under no circumstance would I ever undo our IVF. He backtracked immediately, saying he was just stressed, that he'd fix things. I didn't know what to do. I left for a few days and stayed in a hotel to think. Eventually, I came back because I wanted my child to grow up with both parents. He promised he'd get us into couples therapy. He never did. My therapist told me to give him until Christmas to make it happen. Christmas came and went. Nothing. He started working more closely with the same woman. I had to sit there and watch them joke and laugh together like I was invisible. I finally told my boss I wanted to quit. I couldn't do it anymore. At 31 weeks during a scan, the doctor told me I needed to come back in an hour. They'd found something. When I did, they explained that I had placenta previa and vasa previa, meaning my placenta had exposed blood vessels over my cervix. If I went into labor naturally, both me and my baby could bleed out and die within minutes. I was hospitalized for the rest of my pregnancy. At 35 weeks, I had an emergency C-section. My baby boy spent a week in the NICU before we both came home. He was perfect. He is perfect. My husband? Not so much. He barely helped. I'd be up all night feeding and changing the baby while he drank with his friends upstairs. They'd even light fireworks while we were sleeping. One night, he left his phone unlocked. I'd had enough smoke to look for the fire, so I checked. He'd never stopped texting her. They never stopped running together. 13 years together, gone. I told him I was done. It got ugly after that. More lies came out. I'm not even sure how long the affair was going on. But I do know this. I went through IVF alone, pregnancy alone, and now motherhood alone. And somehow, that's still better than living another day with him.